doing all that we can to help them. But, it's good for people to go in and see that these people aren't, who they claim to be and aren't helping the way that they claim they are, because then we realize what we're up against. It took me going into meetings to, and addressing these officials per se, and so, sorry, there's a plane. I just wanted to, anyway, and thinking that they're going to do the best for you guys, and once you realize that they're not, then you can kind of see like where we're at in society and what, these people are really up to. And it's just a big crime syndicate. Like, they just sit here and the meetings aren't for the people. They're not to have them come in and, redress their grievances. These people already know how they're going to vote. And that's what's so sad, is that, you put your hopes in these people thinking that they're going to, vote on your behalf, but everything is decided before they come in. And, once people kind of see that, it doesn't mean that going in is, useless and there's no point in it, but it's important so that people can see that, right? And we can, it's still important to go and make sure, because as long as they're telling untruths, when we can come in and put the truth in there, it's like they hate it. And that's what's so important, because then people see it and they can see not only what these officials are doing, but they get little bits of truth in there, and then they start to question things. And it's important that we question things and don't just go along with everything that they're saying. I mean, when they tell you, this is for the public good, you got to kind of wonder when, they're getting millions and millions of dollars, if not billions, over periods of time, right, to help homelessness. And it's like, it always gets worse. And why is that? Because if you ever solve problems, then you can't continue to get money to fix them, right? So you can't ever fix the problem. You just got to pretend like that's what you're doing. Put money in the pockets of all of these people, like nonprofits. And the more that I've been doing stuff with, the border invasion and whatnot, and looking into NGOs and all of these nonprofits, it's insane. Because now I'm like, oh my gosh, these people, they make so much money, just these CEOs, that it's like, well, no wonder that's where the money's going. And they act like they're doing all of this stuff so they continue to get money, right? But nothing changes. The problem actually, well, except for the problem gets worse. It doesn't ever get better. And if it did, then they would be out of job, right? And so it's just interesting to, participate and see what these people do and how much money they spend that's ours, and that you guys, everybody works so hard for, and gives it to them thinking that, they're going to be bettering your community. But when you see that they aren't, it shows you exactly why we have to get away from all of this, because all of these constructs were set up. Weird, I feel like it's deja vu. It's another small plane. It must be where I'm at. They've been set up around us in order to just enslave us. It's never been to make things better and better our lives. And when you can see that, then you can see why we have to change things, and why it's so important for us to not just continue to put hope in these people and think that, the system is there to help us. And so once you can understand that, it's, it opens up your eyes to a different kind of view and way of life. And it's very important to see that. And so it'll be interesting tomorrow to continue the meeting, continue their propaganda updates. And that's the thing, after going for so long, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's like you just hear the same stuff over and over, and how much money, and you just see it go through these people's hands. And then you're trying to look around for where's the fruits of their labor? Is it good? Is it something where you're like, oh, that's great, and it's like, oh, you did 150 tents. Oh, that's cool. For how much money? You could 3D print homes. Many of us, Mark will come in and talk about that. There's so many ways for them to get things cheaper, but that's not how contracts work. That's not how it works in this business. This is a business, right? It's a corporation. And so they have to make money and do all this stuff and pretend and use debt to, pretend that they're going to make things better when, oh man, they don't. And, so I think it's important for us to, attend these things and see, and not to be, to make you discouraged or whatever, but to make you understand. And it sucks when, I see people coming in and they're upset and they're, just really trying to get help. And these people, they literally just stare at their phones. They won't even look up. They won't even give them the time of day. But then they'll sit up on their dais, like they, love to call it, and basically, sit here and just like virtue signal, like, oh my gosh, my community is suffering. And they'll sit there for 20 minutes while they'll give people, sometimes in the community, like, we're going to give you a minute because there's so many people. That's why I was surprised today, another small thing, when they let these people have 2 minutes to talk about the storm. Oh my gosh, I'm just in the worst spot. And so it was interesting to see that, because I think that's really good. But when you think about, like, they're sitting here deciding between whether they get 1, 2, or 3 meals a day, right? And it's like, I mean, none of them have ever been in a position where they like need to go and, dig through the trash for food or whatever, like beg for something. They've had it pretty well themselves. And so it's hard for you to understand that they're not in the best position to be deciding these things, right? But they do it because they love money. They love their budgets. And you should hear them talk, because they won't be like, I want to, provide more housing. It'll be like, we need to seek as much funding as possible. And it's like, okay, but then what do you do with that funding? You don't like go and take it and make things better. You like literally make things worse. And so we're just funding our own demise. I don't know. So anyway, it's just, I feel like I'm rambling, but it's important for people to see what happens at, in these meetings, because most people don't go. Most people don't even know who these people are, and they sit there and say, like, we represent, my constituents. I'm like, where? Because nobody knows who you are. But it's cool because they show themselves, and they really have to, because, it's like karmic debt. Like, they have to tell you what they're doing. It's just up to us to actually see it and accept it. So once we can accept that, then we can accept why things have to change, and why it's like the system can't be changed from, like, you can't go in there and like change it. It's built a certain way for it not to work in our favor. And so in that, it's like, you don't want to play in Satan's sandbox. What you want to do is create your own, little park and sandbox that you go play in, and, we decide the things that happen. It's time for us to start taking things back and being like, we have the power to shape our future. I mean, hello, the Declaration of Independence. I don't know if you guys have read that, but we should, because, we can alter or abolish. Hello.
It's your duty.
And that is why they don't want us reading cursive, like I've told you guys before. So once we, can, get that and step into that, we can change stuff. And so it's like, are you guys ready to change stuff? I am. That's why I keep going. And I will continue to do that. I'm just, waiting for the storm to come. Let's, like, as the storm come in and, stand together and organize a revolutionary movement. I don't know if you guys know this, but my name means storm, which is weird, right? My dad said figures. And here's storm right here. I don't know if you can see that. Where is it? I don't know. Right here. Storm. I think it's backwards. Anyway, it's just interesting. So, but we are the storm, as long as we just continue to, press forward and don't be afraid. They want us to be afraid. And it's like, imagine if there's all of us. It's like, not that you want them to be afraid of us, but they are. It's like, we don't have to do anything. Just talk and they're afraid of us. And it's like, I mean, for me to be a threat to the police, it's like, can you imagine that, you guys? I mean, it must be pretty powerful. I think my light's too bright. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I'm going to let you guys go. But, I'll just keep you updated. Just trying new stuff. And so, let's just keep going. And we can really change things. So you just have to understand and know that you can. I hope this guy doesn't hit me. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let me back up so that you don't hit me up against the wall. Okay, so anyway, love you guys. And over and out. I'll be back sometime soon.